And good morning. Welcome to Sports Talk. Glad to have you with us. Clear, hazy, humid Saturday morning. Temperatures are expected to rise throughout the day.
Yeah, what was that old song, Hazy, Lazy Days of Summer?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I got into Maiden. I thought I'd run into a fog bank.
Yeah. Well, I haven't even really noticed, no further than I go, but I just looked out the window, didn't even think about it, but you can barely see the tops of some of the trees out through there across the street from our studio this morning. But yeah, it's and this is going to be one rough week coming up to especially with things going on like we got going on.
Mm-hmm.
Lanny, can you turn down whatever's roaring? Do y'all hear it? Or am I the only one?
I don't hear a roar.
Okay. Maybe it sounds like it's from behind me. Oh. But I'm not.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't turn us down back here.
Okay. So feedback. It's just I don't know. It's easier when you don't have the feedback. There you go. Now it's quieter in the headsets. I want to hear Mike, Brett, and Jason, who's got a seat over there in front of the Dick Butkus jersey this morning.
I thought that was the extra mic I had put in.
We have DeLon, Malore, Butkus, and Kirkland, all three in the house now this morning. And as a matter of fact, everybody looks just like their namesake that is behind them on the wall. But Jason Barber joined us this morning as well. And the first thing I want to talk about was numbers last night, 28-5. And I told these guys, that's what I did, 28-5. Brett texted me last night and said, have you seen the Red Sox score? And I sent back, not since it was 10-0, and I hadn't. And he said at that point it was 23 to 2, 23 to.
I think it was 27.
Was it already 27?
Yeah.
27 to something. And I, just shook my head, but.
And that was with. Who was it? Toronto?
Yes.
Toronto was batting in the sixth inning. They had 27 and they had guys on.
In the sixth?
Yeah.
Get that. In the sixth, Mike Powell. 27 runs in the sixth inning. I haven't looked at the line score yet to see.
I know they had an 11
Did they?
in there.
Yeah.
And they had a 7.
Yeah. You know what that equals, don't you? Butt whipping.
Yeah.
Does it matter in Major League Baseball? Now, I've heard most Major League Baseball players that have been interviewed and asked about the blowout versus the one-run loss, walk-off loss. They said they'd much rather go through the blowout. Said you respond better the next day, because there was no ifs, ands, and buts. You just lost. But
to lose on such an epic scale.
Yeah, and the first game back for both teams after the All-Star break. So what does that lead you to do whenever you see a score like that? Of course, is look up to see the most runs scored by one team in Major League Baseball history, right? And I know every one of you are going to guess who it was. I could tell you who it is in modern day, but let's not start with modern day. Let's start with 1867.
So just after the Civil War, huh?
How close is that, really?
They had organized baseball then?
4 years after the Civil War, 1867.
Well, of course they did. The Chicago Colts scored a Major League record 36
runs
in beating the Louisville Colonels June 29th, 1867, 36-7. I doubt that was all over ESPN.
Right.
At the time that happened, but I figured somebody was in the 30s, and they're not the only team to score in the 30s. Here's what Brett and I talked about this, I think, while Mike was setting up, so he wouldn't have heard any of it, and Jason was driving in. But I do not remember in 2007, just 15 years ago, the Orioles lost to the Rangers. Any guess?
Like 32-3.
30-3. You did remember that? Do you remember?
I remember it vaguely.
It just slipped my mind. Did I hear correctly? Is there a Bronco in the house?
Yes. Fayetteville State Bronco.
Okay,
Class
there you
of
go.
2003. Yes.
And that is coming from Rodney Willis this morning.
Yes.
So how about that? FSU.
And speaking of 1867, the year Fayetteville State was founded. So.
How ironic. I did not realize. I'm surprised you knew that.
Yeah. We're
Jason.
the oldest HBCU in North Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah.
I knew you used to wear the FSU stuff and trying to overplay Seminoles.
Yeah. We are the real FSU.
That's right. Hey, can't argue that.
The real FSU.
Can't argue that over the last 5 years. Orioles 30-3 back on August of 2007 over the. Excuse me, I keep saying the Orioles. The Orioles were on the bottom end.
Yeah.
You know the Orioles, and fittingly so because they still hold the biggest, longest modern day losing streak. Right, 21 when they started the season 0-21. Can't recall exactly what years that was either. I want to say in the 80s or 90s, but then again, it could be way more recent than that. Memory here. Let me check it. The Braves in 2020 didn't remember this one either, and that's just been 2 years ago, guys.
That was probably during the shortened season for the virus.
Do you remember what they did? The Braves on September the 9th, 2020.
No.
29 runs, 29-9 over the Marlins. You score 9 runs in a Major League Baseball game, you expect to win, not lose by 20.
Yeah.
You know, I mean that's just kind of. Odd.
It's so rare, but I mean, what has to happen? The perfect storm to create a game like that.
Get to somebody early, and then they start pitching position players to avoid using their bullpen.
Yeah.
Well, I look back at this Rangers Orioles game. It was 5-3 after 5 innings.
Oh,
and then the Rangers scored 9 in the 6th, 10 in the 8th, and 6 in the 9th.
Yeah, I'd like to see. Well, it doesn't really matter, but I'd like to see. You know, I know it's too detailed.
They had 5 innings where they didn't score.
5 innings where they didn't score.
Ooh.
And still scored 30 runs.
30 runs in 4. 30 runs in 4 innings.
Baltimore led the game 3-0.
So they came back with a vengeance, right? We're not going to let that happen. 3 runs won't hold up.
And here's the big hitters that day or night. Jared Saltalamacchia.
Yeah, who played for the Braves and the Red Sox.
Yep.
And Ramon Vasquez. Both were 4 for 6 with 2 home runs, 7 RBI.
Both had 7. Wow. Oh, wait, no. Okay, that brings to another long discussion. He had 7 what?
Runs batted in.
Say it again the other way. What'd you say? He had 7
RBI.
And I say RBIs.
And it's clear as R's BI.
Yeah.
But
I think it's correct either way.
I do too,
Either
because
way.
I think some people consider RBI a thing in its own,
right.
not just the initial, but an RBI, you know, it's just a term. I mean, what other word is there out there in sports that we use initials for that you say? I mean, there may not be any other, but RBI seems to be the most controversial for whatever reason.
It is.
I think interception, some say INT, but other than
And INTs.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you said runs batted in, then you wouldn't need an S because runs is
If you say it
plural.
that way, yes, but then I consider just the initials a thing itself. You know. Cause
Yeah,
when you,
I typically put
categories-
an S after it.
I do too. I even put it in print.
right.
Yeah,
I
me
put an
too.
S.
That's what I meant.
Yep. Without an apostrophe.
Yeah, without an apostrophe.
Without an apostrophe.
No.
We got to be
No.
correct with the English
I mean,
professor. in here.
apostrophe means possession.
Yeah, it don't own.
It don't own.
It don't own the run.
No.
But
I
Mike's
don't know why
giving us
people do that.
Mike's
We
giving us an English
misuse of
lesson
the
this-
apostrophe.
this morning.
Have to get the grammar.
Which is the
knots
worst,
out.
Mike? There, and there, that everybody gets wrong. 3 theres.
That's
What about
probably the
stuff you
worst-
s-
probably the worst offender.
Stuff you see printed with Bandy's high school, and they
And no
put an apostrophe after
Yeah,
the Y.
it's
That's
like it's
terrible.
Hey,
like the person is Bandy or the
Yeah.
town is Bandy. and
Bandy.
it's there.
I saw it on a
School.
shirt one time.
Yeah.
and
Oh,
that's
yeah, I
not-
have too.
That's not, they don't want that. That's not. You're exactly right. I don't know of another school or name or anything like that other than Bandy's is the one that comes to mind though. No apostrophe in the word Bandy. Do you know another school that ends with an S?
As far as the primary name, for the primary name.
Yeah, I can't
They're
think of one right off the
definitely
bat. I mean, obviously you wouldn't know it was St. Stephen's
Yeah.
that ends in an,
Yeah.
but St. Stephen, it's his, right?
Yeah.
It belongs to St.
Used to with
Stephen.
apostrophe.
I don't know how we got off on this morning, but I want to go through a few more of these. In 1955, the White Sox beat the A's 29-6. The Boston was actually on the good end of one of these in 1950. The Red Sox beat the Browns. Now, where were the Browns from in baseball?
St. Louis?
I think that's right. That does sound right.
Mm-hmm.
The Browns 29-4. As we said, the Blue Jays last night over the Red Sox 28-5. That's what got this topic started. And then the Cardinals over the Phillies. These last two, only Mike Powell would know about them. The Cardinals over the Phillies 28-6 in 1929. And 6 years earlier,
the crash. How could I forget it?
6 years earlier, the Indians beat the Reds. So Red Sox are in a lot of these, and most time on the bottom end. Cleveland beat the Red Sox 27-3 on July 7th, 1923. It says the Blue Jays cleared the 27-run mark in the ninth inning with Red Sox infielder Yolmer Sanchez on the mound. Okay, there you go, a position player pitching. Although 28 runs allowed as a club record, 23 isn't the biggest loss. That's still the 27-3 defeat in 1923 to Cleveland. So, Red Sox, even though they let me throw this in there first. Even though they are the only team to win 4 world championships this millennium, they still know how to lose in style.
Well, if you're going to lose, you might as well
lose big.
They know how to lose in
did
style.
see on SportsCenter that the runs the Blue Jays scored last night, the 27, was the most by the opposing team at Fenway.
And it was also their franchise high. It was also their franchise high. 28, don't short them.
Sorry.
Don't short them. They'll be
I did, and Brady sent out a tweet to Julian Edelman saying when it was 25-3, hey, is this starting to look familiar? Thought maybe
I mentioned that before you got here. I said if they could have just got it to 28-3, maybe they could have came back
right.
and won the game. But had them right where they wanted them, right?
Back for the ages.
Yeah, Brett, I'm looking at the scoreboard here. Last night, Toronto did not score in the 7th and 8th and scored 1 in the 9th. So it's a 1-2-7, 4-1, 1-2-7, 4-11, 2, and then only 1 run over the final 3 innings. But you know what? I don't know if they left their. Do you leave your starters in there at that point and pad stats because you got risk of injury?
Yeah.
You don't want to get one of those guys taken out and going to miss the rest of the season when he don't need to be. So, and I don't know what they did.
Starter pitched 5 innings for Toronto.
Well,
but I mean starters like in position.
Oh, the position players.
You might want to consider taking them out too because.
Well, it looks like Vladimir Guerrero came out after 4 at bats, which was probably.
Well, he was winded.
Like 3
You've
innings.
seen Vladimir.
That wasn't much of the game.
He was winded.
You see, they had it inside the park grand slam.
That's when I first saw the 10-0 score because it popped up and said inside the park grand slam. It also had the score up there on Bleacher Report. I don't know if you follow Bleacher Report, but it gives you alerts. And I thought 10-0, and I knew at the time on the clock it couldn't be far along,
right?
And it wasn't. I mean, at that point it was once it was 10-0, it was still in the third. But then I never expected to see 27.
So every starter had at least 2 hits.
Wow.
And scored at least 2 runs.
29 hits as a team.
Yep. Is that a record too? I'm guessing.
29 hits.
I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know what's going on in Boston, but they've been very inconsistent this year, and they aren't going to take it for long. I don't know if I don't think it's manager Alex, or is it Alex or Joey? I don't know.
It's Alex, yeah.
And Joey's the brother, right?
Yeah.
Alex Cora, because he's already won a world championship and seems to make the right moves most of the time. So I'm guessing their pitching is just terrible, and then they get injuries, or 2 of them still on the injured list. I don't know who started this game last night.
Eovaldi started.
Did he?
And he's been one of their better ones.
He has. Sometimes
Chris Sale came back and got re-injured.
Line drive in the pitching hand instantly. Had to have surgery on it. First game back. And it seems like one of the other ones is missing as well. The All-Star breaks kind of got me out of whack here for a little bit. But just worth mentioning last night there that
so what do? You shake it off? Is there any psychological
well, you come back today
hangover?
and no. I don't think so. I don't think so. I'll be interested to go back and look at what teams did the next day after those. You know what I mean? After those losses like that, if you go back and look and see what they did in the very next game, I'm going to say, probably 50-50 because it doesn't affect what you do the next game. Like I said, that walk-off, you be up 3 runs in the 9th inning and another team beat you with a walk-off, that's going to affect you a lot more mentally than the
forget it.
blowout loss. Yeah, it's just one of those things that happens along the way. Now, that might affect you worse in another sport like football where you don't play near as many games.
Remember the Grizzlies series with San Francisco, with the Golden State.
Yeah, what was the
Didn't the Grizzlies beat them by like 60 in one game of that
They
series?
did, yeah, they did.
But they weren't close to winning the series.
No.
What is that the only game they won, or 2 at the most?
They won 2.
I think they won 2. Yeah.
Yeah. So how many did Golden State score in that game to let it get around 60, 70? Why not?
Yeah.
Give them rest.
Right.
We talked about that when it happened. Rest your guys when you see there's no chance of a comeback. Or if you do come back, it's going to take every ounce of energy you have, and you might not have anything left for the next few days in the series. Of course, that score last night, that's going to dominate the headlines, the fact all those runs were scored last night by the Toronto Blue Jays, and rightly so. I mean, to me, they got one of the best offenses in baseball, and they've been kind of disappointing, even though they're 51-43. I think they expected to be a little better than that. Is every team in this division? Nope. Orioles are 1 game under 500. I was going to say every team still over 500, but they are not. The Orioles slipped to a game below. 28-5. It was the Blue Jays last night. The Reds beat the Cardinals 9-5. I talked with a friend of mine last night who, I don't know how this works and everything, but he had a bet placed on the Reds to beat the Cardinals, and he actually had, I want to say, $75 on it, and his Reds could still lose by a run because he had a run and a half to give. So if they lost by a run, and of course he's keeping up with it closely, and it doesn't matter. And I don't know what the payoff was if you bet 75, but he got it. And why? Here's the question I wanted to ask more than any. Why would you bet money on the Reds? I mean, that hasn't happened since Pete Rose days.
Right.
But why would anybody bet money on the Reds? I didn't get it, especially against the Cardinals that are 50-45, while the Reds are 35-57. But unless there was some inside information there, and he knew I don't know who the pitcher was. Maybe he was betting on the starting pitcher.
Adam Wainwright pitched for St. Louis.
Wow. I should have paid him $1,000 then.
Graham Ashcraft, the starter for Cincinnati.
Oh my goodness! Well,
the rookie.
He's one of the luckiest people alive anyway, so he won. And no, it's not who you're thinking. The Cubs beat the Phillies last night 15-2. 15 sounds low.
Right. After 28.
Yeah, 15 on 19 hits. That's nothing. It was the Marlins over the Pirates last night, 8-1. The Yankees over the Orioles, 7-6. I think Judge hit another pair of home runs.
I think it was his 8th multi-home run game in the season.
And I'll give him credit. These were at Camden Yard. They weren't at the 245-foot Yankee Stadium.
Talking about somebody's about to get paid this offseason.
Yeah, he picked the perfect year.
If Soto
to have 36 home runs.
If Soto was offered $440 million and turned it down, I hate to see what Judge is about to get offered.
The question is, will he be a Yankee or not?
Yeah, I think
it's a 90% chance.
They might both be Yankees.
That you're very well. I heard that Soto wanted to be a Dodger.
Well, the thing with Soto, 15 years. That was Scott Boras. That was their push. I think they were wanting to cut it down to maybe 10 years. Because they looked at the average annual salary based on the 15, he wouldn't be
same money, but 10 years.
Yeah,
same money, but 10 years.
So
if I'm going to negotiate, I want that for 1. Where did I hear? Who's the latest contract that was signed? It was Kyler Murray.
Yeah, Kyler Murray. Yeah.
That I don't know which team it is, but he makes more than a Major League Baseball
Oakland,
team.
They talked about Oakland A's.
He makes more than the A's.
Woo.
The A's drafted
Yeah.
How about that? And they drafted.
And you see at his press conference yesterday, somebody asked, "So are you still going to consider him playing baseball?" And he played. They're like, "What'd you say? I didn't hear you. What? Huh?" You know, so.
Not anymore. No need.
Yeah,
No
he was
need.
the 9th pick, I think, by the A's.
That is, but just to make more than a major league team tells you how unbalanced Major League Baseball is, first of all.
Oh, yeah.
And also how salaries have gotten out of hand.
Totally.
You know, how will they be able to afford any more players? That's the way I look at it. You know, you're going to make all this money, but how are you going to afford any more players? We started all this with Aaron Judge hitting 2 more home runs last night, beating the Orioles 7-6, 36 now on the season. What's the single season record?
Well, Bonds at 73.
Is it that many? 73.
And it said Judge is on pace for 61. Which
Yeah, I was going to say
yeah.
they've played.
Yeah, he's over halfway.
95.
Yeah,
he's well over halfway.
When's the last time we had somebody hit 60?
But now if he hits 2 a game, like he's been doing here lately,
Yeah.
he won't have any problem. Last time we had somebody hit 60 had to be the
Bonds, McGuire, so around that
yeah.
time.
I don't think anybody's hit 60
I don't either.
since, and if they did, there again that might have happened because you know the old memory here is slipping.
A-Rod have a 60 home
Brett should remember that though. But I do not recall. That's a famous line by many people in court, isn't it? I do not recall. Padres 4-1 last night over the Mets. Yu Darvish makes the New York Mets look light on offense. So Darvish, I'm guessing, was the Padre pitcher that he's been around, hadn't he?
Yeah.
And also been around a while at this point. Braves beat the Angels 8-1. No details given there.
Beat Shohei Ohtani, who was on the mound last night for the Angels.
Was he?
Yeah.
And while we're on the subject of the Angels, C.J. Mayhew, East Carolina product out of Crest High School, signed with the Angels this week as a free agent, undrafted free agent. That courtesy of Denny Hoover. Thank you, Denny, for giving us that information. And good luck. I know East Carolina will miss him and would counted on him because he was one of their starters in their big weekend series closer to the end of the season. But, you know, sometimes maybe you go while you're hot.
Right.
You know what I mean? If they're willing to sign you, depending on what the contract is, if you're okay with what the contract is, then go ahead and go because you don't know what the future might hold, especially pitching because injuries are, you know, just happen a lot. The Guardians beat the White Sox 8-2, 15 hits last night for the Cleveland Guardians, and no, I can't get used to saying that. Brewers over the Rockies. This is the beer series of the week, isn't it? The Coors versus Miller Lite.
They're all owned by the same company.
Yeah, they are now. They are now. 6-5. In that game, the Brewers win last night at home. So I don't know if there's any home runs. So you got to see what's the Brewer name? It slides down.
Benny the Brewer.
Is it what?
I think it's Benny the Brewer.
Benny, I can't remember. The Rays over the Royals 7-3. The A's topped the Rangers 5-4. The Diamondbacks 10-1 over the Nationals. The Astros, who just on Thursday swept a doubleheader over the Yankees. And I think it was their makeup games. But anyway, last night they win in Seattle. I was watching a little of this, but passed out, went to sleep before it was over, and it was 5-2. The Astros a winner last night, and the Dodgers beat the Giants last night 5-1. And those two scores are last, and I'm glad they're last for a reason. If you look, both those teams have 62 wins, and the Yankees, who have slipped just a little bit over the last couple of weeks, have 65. So that gap, you know, at one time they had a huge gap between the best record.
They did.
And
I think the Dodgers and Yankees are even in losses.
Are they? And Houston has 2 more.
Yeah, 32.
Yeah.
Yankees and Dodgers have 30 losses.
So who's the best team in baseball right now? You're picking a world champion. Who you taking?
I'm going with the Yankees.
Because I know who I'm going with. And I went with them about a month ago. Brett and Mike should recall who I went with.
Houston?
Yeah. Still going with them. They won 5 out of 7 against the Yankees this year. And had the other 2 won and blew them.
Yeah.
I blew them in the last. The other 2 won and blew them in the last inning. But now I will say this: I could change at any time. And a lot of times when you beat somebody all season long, it comes back to get you in the playoffs. So, and that was basically Aaron Boone's words earlier this week. Have I got the right Boone, Aaron, and not Brett?
Yeah.
That was his words this week. Said, we have struggled against them. We've not beaten them. But you're only going to remember how it comes out in the playoffs. If we beat them in the playoffs, you won't remember this. It won't matter. And if we don't beat them, that's what you're going to remember if we lose to them in the playoffs. So when that time rolls around, who will be the healthiest, who will be on a roll, and who will play the best. But I still like the Dodgers as well because and don't count the Braves out at 57 and 38. But I'll put it this way. If I had to guess now, I would make the Dodgers a little bit more of a favorite
Come out there now. Yeah.
than I would the Yankees or the Astros to, because that's going to be a battle, I think, if they wind up meeting in the championship series. Is there anybody other than the 4 teams I just mentioned that we should be talking about?
Well, the Mets. Did you say the Mets?
Yeah, Mets.
We'll see. I liked them earlier on. I'm not so sure right now they have the staying power. Do they? Do you think
I know their pitching rotation, though, up and down as far as the injuries there.
Yeah, they've got Scherzer back.
And they're kind of new to the scene, too.
Should get DeGrom back.
He's in the rehab. I think he's still doing
well, if they get all that and they're healthy and they're on top of their game, yes, I would definitely give them a fighting chance, if not the favorite. But I don't know. It just seems like those other two, and then again, you got I don't know who will have to play each other. We're still a long way from that. How the matchups will be. Who would you least want to play, Brett, as a Dodger fan, in the National League Championship Series? Which team would you least want to face in right now? Mets or Braves?
Probably
or,
the Mets,
or somebody else?
Just because of those two pitchers.
Okay. And as I look, the numbers are so similar.
Now the Braves lineup scares me a little more than the Mets.
Well, they've only scored 16 more runs. Let's see, is that math right? 14 more. No, it's 16 more runs than the Mets, and the Mets have gave up 17 less. So it's pretty close. When you're talking about
their run differential is 80 and 79.
Yeah,
the Mets and the Braves.
Yeah. So
and the Dodgers is 176. It's like when the Dodgers win, they're usually blowing people out.
Yeah. Does run differential really translate well to World Championships, or means you have a chance? I'll put it that way.
Yeah, probably not.
I will say it means you have a chance because you're winning most of your games.
Games are going to be closer in the playoffs, and the bullpen's really going to come into play,
as always.
And that's where the Dodgers need some help, which I think they'll get.
I would say trade day. Then they're going to make a move at the trade deadline.
Yeah, I think.
When is the trade deadline?
Big moves
coming up at the end of the month, right?
I was going to say,
is it July 31st?
Yeah, but here's the funny part about that. I've never understood it. It's the trade deadline, yet we always see trades after the deadline. But they have to clear waivers, right? It's the difference. You have to clear waivers if it's after the deadline. So why don't somebody just steal one of those guys? Just take them. I guess because of the salary you have to pay. But take one of those guys just to keep, one of the powerhouses from adding that person.
So y'all were talking about 60 home run seasons.
Yep.
It hadn't happened since 2001, and that's when Bonds hit 73.
Oh, wow.
And Sammy Sosa that year hit 64. So there's only been nine 60-plus home run seasons. Or no, I'm sorry, 8.
With like half of them coming like in a 4-year period.
Yeah, and from 98 to 01 is when most of them happened.
The height of the steroid abuse.
Bonds, McGuire, Sosa, McGuire, Sosa. Sosa did it 3 times in a 4-year span.
Is that when Sosa was fading? If you know what I mean.
No. He was young Michael Jackson then.
Young Michael Jackson.
he was young.
And the most since then is Giancarlo Stanton hit 59 in 2017.
Okay.
Still one of the guys that when he bats, I'll stop him.
Right.
Even though he's a Yankee, I'll stop and watch him bat because it's a little unorthodox.
A lot of his home runs go 450 feet
and go to opposite field. He just sprays it around. He has a unique swing.
And I saw him hit one out of Dodger Stadium one time, which
in person.
No, I wish I could have seen that in person, but That's when he was with Miami.
Yeah.
But nobody even did that in the home run derby this past week.
Nobody hit one out of the stadium. And the home run derby was won by Soto?
Yeah.
Yeah. And how old is he now? 25?
I think he's
That's
23.
Yeah,
23?
Yeah.
And how much money is he wanting?
And the guy he beat in the finals is 21.
Which was?
Julio Rodriguez.
Is that the Seattle kid?
Yeah. Which
Wow.
he killed it in the first 2 rounds. I mean, he had a good bit more than Soto did overall. He just, I guess, ran out of gas in the finals.
Got to give a plug still to on Seattle to Cal Raleigh. I was watching a game a couple nights ago, and he's behind the plate again, so getting plenty of playing time. Smoky Mountain High school product and Florida State.
Yeah, he was
along the
unfortunately
way,
on the
so.
wrong end of a highlight last night. That
Was he?
Got him striking out. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it happens,
Yeah.
especially when you're power hitter. You're going to strike out, unless who's the power hitter we talk about that hits with really good average as well. There's okay, you can't think of one. That pretty much
Not in
tells
baseball these days.
Yeah, there's
It's
somebody
home
out
run
there
or
that
bust.
is hitting a lot of home runs.
Well,
but he's
Judge
still,
has a pretty good average. Is he 280 something?
yeah, his is climbing. His is definitely climbing.
I mean,
by-
to hit 280 and have that many home runs is,
Oh, you can't ask for more.
is pretty good.
Yep. Lenny says Rich Hill also out for Boston. Evaldi, Sale, and Whitlock just came back, but Sale gone again. So there you go. I mean, that they can't get anybody out, obviously. Hopefully they won't give up 20-plus runs.
Jordan Alvarez
Yes.
from Houston.
My Don.
He's hitting 310 with 28 home runs.
310 with 28 home runs with Houston.
And Judge
Yeah.
is
They're fighting for him for MVP.
Judge is at 284 right now.
And rightly so. It's going to be a good race between those two for the MVP, I would think. Who's the leader, if you got that pulled up?
Judge has about twice as many strikeouts as Alvarez does.
So Alvarez is putting it in play more. Who is the leaders in the batting average category, and what numbers?
In the American League, Luis Reyes from Minnesota is hitting 338. Devers, 324. Benintendi, 319.
Former Red Sox.
And into Blue Jays, Alejandro Kirk and Lourdes Gurriel.
Lord S. and Kirk, he must be captain.
319 and 318.
He's
In the National League, it's Paul Goldschmidt, 331. Freddie Freeman, 324.
You're liking that Freddie Freeman thing, aren't you?
Yeah, and then Trey Turner's 4th at 306. So
Not
two
bad.
pretty new Dodgers.
Two pretty new Dodgers. Let's take a time out. Appreciate you tuning in to Sports Talk this morning. Going to talk with Jason a little bit about the passing of a Lincoln legend when we come back.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with Auto Owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit mooneyinsurance.com. Times convenience stores are more than convenient. They're your neighborhood store, your store. With locations in Lincoln, Catawba, Gaston, Iredell, and Mecklenburg counties, there's one near you. Times convenience stores have the right items at the right price, from snacks, cold drinks, and light meals from the grill, and there's always a special to save you time and money. Times has what you need. Times convenience stores, there's one near you. Regardless of where you're going, there's one on your way. Remember, there's always time to stop by Times. Have you thought about when you would like to retire? One of your major assets is planning for retirement is time, and you lose a little of it each day. The longer you wait to start accumulating capital for retirement, the harder it's going to be. How should you plan for retirement? Start by calculating approximately how much capital you will need at retirement, then estimate how much you will have to put away each year. Finally, carefully choose the investments in which you will invest. Stifel Nicholas can assist you. Call Fort Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stifel Nicholas, member SIPC, and the New York Stock Exchange. First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily, or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
In the best of times, no one is more deserving of every opportunity, encouragement, and support than the youth in our communities. Parents, teachers, coaches, and sponsors struggle to stretch their budgets to continue help. Communities need a team effort. Times Oil Corporation, a longtime member of the community, established the Times Educational Alliance Mission, or Team Foundation. Since 2011, over $125,000 in grants have been donated in the community. Times Oil and the Team Foundation are proud to be community partners.
And welcome back to Sports Talk. David Keever, Brett Keever, Mike Powell, and Jason Barber in the studio with us this morning. Having trouble finding this place? Now, I think I saw you pull in and you came from...
Yeah, because I was coming from Charlotte.
Okay. Charlotte's that way? Now I'm really confused.
All roads lead to Charlotte.
All roads lead to Charlotte.
But you know, Charlotte now the gateway to Gastonia.
Yeah. Where did we hear that? Was that Saturday Night Live?
Skit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Keenan Thompson.
Oh, yeah, we're talking about with a little VAR ball.
Gastonia making Saturday Night Live, of course, you know.
But you know, one of the main writers on Saturday Night Live is a UNC alum. It's from North Carolina, yeah.
I didn't know.
Do you know the name of that?
He interviewed, I listened to him on the Carolina Insider podcast. So
okay.
I can't remember his name, but yeah, so he grew up in North Carolina. So
it's probably he probably was the one that wrote that skit.
That's the longest running show on TV.
It's 1975.
1975.
Or or is it like a soap opera?
A soap opera will go. I'll tell you, I know a soap opera goes long. I think it's like The Young and the Restless.
Young and the Restless is still
longer
going.
than that.
So yeah, they was in the early 70s. But
yeah, that's true.
And then I think soap operas and I think game shows. When I think
Price is Right.
Longevity. But now Price is Right quit for a while at one time and then came back. I don't remember
what about like 60 Minutes or something.
60 Minutes been on a long time.
It's been on a long time.
At least 60 Minutes.
You know what the longest running cartoon that's been out there now?
The longest running cartoon.
Oh, The Simpsons.
Yep.
The Simpsons.
Since 88.
Yeah, okay, animated.
Yeah.
That may be the longest.
Since 88, yeah.
Well, 60 Minutes got to have that beat. Because I remember growing up and watching 60 Minutes.
60 Minutes goes back to at least the early 70s, doesn't it?
Does it? Yeah.
Mike Wallace.
Yeah, well, I don't know. But there, yeah. I don't forgot what show got us on this. What got us?
The gateway to Gastonia.
Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, Saturday Night Live. Yeah, Saturday Night Live. How about that? Jason, sad. It's sad, but but you know, it was inevitable.
Yeah.
That we lost Kojak about a week ago, and did you attend the receiving last night?
Attended receiving last night. Yeah, for those who know, Kojak is my second cousin. His mother and my grandmother were sisters, and everything. So yeah, we had the receiving last night from 6 to 9. That was at the Citizen Center, and then the funeral services will be today, starting at 1 p.m. at the Citizen Center. So, and
I'm guessing the Citizen Center was chosen for a reason, and that reason would be plenty of room.
Plenty of room to accommodate the people and everything. I know at one point maybe thought we would use the high school, but the gym is being used for Comic-Con that's going on today. You're
kidding. Comic-Con.
Yeah, communities in school.
I'll be at the Comic-Con thing.
But yeah, the police. I mean, I'm not sure what time the Citizen Center will open up for those that do want to go view the body, sign the book or whatnot. But Kojak, he is decked out in his Lincoln and Wolves gear, his coach's uniform, his Lincoln polo and Lincoln khakis with his coach's hat on. So.
If not one of the most, if not the most popular guy in the city of Lincoln, definitely one of all time.
Yeah.
You know, not just in you know in his era, but of all time. I mean, he's just, you know, and so many people. I've just heard during the past week so many stories about him, and you know, I mean, there's just people out there that you think of right off the bat that can just always tell.
Right.
And always close to the Lincoln coaching staff. You know, Coach
right.
Cloninger, Coach Smith back in those days. And
the band, remember
very much so.
Mr.
Very
Peach
much
was the director of the band. And
I don't know. I never know which one he liked the most, football or the band, because the band got him going.
Right.
And he would walk out with the band. He would march out with the band. He would also run out with the football team. Many stories have been done on him, including another one this week on WBTV.
Yeah,
right.
They did a story on him, but you've seen him in just about every newspaper within, you know, a 25, 30-mile radius here has done a story on Kojak at one time or another.
Yeah, just one of those colorful small-town characters that, you know, the community really helped nurture him, right? And
always dressed in Lincoln gear, always taken care of, always got his meals, and always writing tickets.
Always right, yeah.
Always writing. And I've still got some somewhere.
Well,
if
you come to the services day, you will he got one last ticket. Everybody getting you into the door. So,
all right.
Yeah,
so that's great.
Yeah, you got one last ticket. Everybody into the door. Everybody's talking about the stories. So growing up, I know him as Kenny One. That's what we call him. The family call him Kenny One. And when he's at home,
why the one?
I don't know.
Don't remember. Okay.
I
didn't know if there was multiple
Kennys. When he's at home, he wouldn't speak. Everybody see him in public. He's loud, gregarious, very social, all that.
Really?
At home, never talk. He would pick up the phone sometimes and just hang up. Like you wouldn't even say, tell him like, "Hey, put your mom on the phone and put somebody on." So that's the Kojak that I knew growing up. I didn't realize he spoke until I seen him at the barbershop one time, and all of a sudden, like, who is this person? So I was a little boy. So yeah. But he definitely will be missed, and he's definitely a character. Man, the community community lost a great one there.
I remember, you know, I'm glad you did that, because I was going to say, what was your first memory of him? Because when you were growing up, you know, there's a certain age you can remember back, and a certain age you can. It's usually around 5 or 6 years old. But you know, just all the things that he's very similar to radio. The story of radio.
Yes.
Played by Cuba Gooding Jr. of T.L. Hanna High down in South Carolina. It's very similar situation to that. But, you know, I remember him all the good times and but he was very, you know, did things that were very comical as well.
Right,
like one time he led the team out and went to the West Lincoln side. You know,
yeah, that's the one I remember.
Yeah, but you know, I don't know. I mean, you know, I've been working at the high school for the past 4 years, and many mornings I've helped him get a Coke. You know, you know, get him a belly washer.
Belly washer, yeah.
And anybody that out there wondered, you know, this week I've seen the words belly washer used. A lot of people would say, "What is that?"
Yeah,
you know, they wouldn't know what that was without knowing it was what he called a Coke, and it had to be a Coke.
Hey, you know what's funny? He loves Coke, and his sister, she loved Pepsi.
Is that right? Yeah. He wasn't going to have it any other way, and he, you know, the disappointment on his face when he would come in and the machine was out of order. You know, I remember that. But he was one of a kind in many ways, and you know, so many, you know, just I don't know the community's son.
Right.
It's kind of the way.
They adopted him.
Yeah, it's kind of the way that I saw it. But you know.
And how old was he?
66.
66.
Yeah,
okay.
66.
Okay.
Yeah. He turned
He
66.
he had aged in the last few years.
Yeah.
It seemed like, but from like 1990 up until about 2015, to me, he looked like the same guy
Yeah, he's
for 25 years.
So that beard and mustache turned white.
Yeah.
And his eyebrows.
And he usually didn't keep face hair. I mean, he just kept shaving for the most part. But yeah, it's like, you know, once COVID hit, he can't keep his same routine like he was. You know, couldn't get out and stuff like that. You know, get away from your routine. It seems.
And you know what's that? He did. I'm sure he did not understand why COVID would keep him. You know, kind of under lock and key, not really under lock and key, but you know what I'm saying. Like it did all of us.
Yeah.
You know, but
yeah, and particularly tough on him, as you said. Routine was part of his style.
You know, I can still just vision him walking the streets more than anything. Just even more than the ball games. I just see him walking because I saw him so many times walking the.
Oh yes, if you just rode through town, you would see him.
I'd always
Main
roll
Street
down my
somewhere.
window and holler "Heidi ho!"
Yeah.
And he would fire it right back at you.
Well, as a little kid, in the summertime, me and Edwin, my brother Ed, we were too young to stay home by ourselves. We would go to his mom. His mom would watch us during the summertime when we was out for school. So we'd get up there by 7 in the morning. Kojak's out the door. He's starting his day. And his first stop would be when school was in session. His first stop would be right there at Battleground in Lincoln High School. He with the police directing traffic.
That's right.
And folks would pay attention. He would direct the traffic.
He writes you a ticket if you don't pay attention.
That's right.
You know, so many people have taken care of him, but a couple that just come to mind. I mean, Coach Cloninger was, you know, like his right hand man.
He was the one.
But
Karen
Gibson,
Tony Jenkins,
a lot in the last 10 years, you know, has done a lot as well. And I know there are more, and I don't want to leave anybody out, but those two are just two that I'm familiar with. I never remember whenever they'd be in the coach's office and Richard would come in. You know, Scott always said he would say, "Here's the big boss," you know, not just the boss, like some of the others, but the big boss is here. And then Scott tells one of the best stories ever is one night when I think they were at Bunker Hill and they come back through Catawba. You got the speed trap in Catawba, you know, and they get pulled over and the cop walks up to the car and 2 or 3 times Kojak says, "This van will fly." You know, this van will fly. But which is exactly what you want to hear when you're sitting in that driver's seat.
Did he have a favorite restaurant or?
Well, City Lunch.
City Lunch took care of him. City Lunch looked after him too. Let's not forget that. I'm glad you brought that up.
The Greer family. Speaking of Lincoln and Flares, you know, he was a coach. You had to listen to him. He would discipline you. You had to run Old Smoky for those.
Old Smoky
at the practice, the hill over there by the practice field. That's where he make us run. And as the old saying, he said he'll run you till your tongue fall out.
Some of the sayings that he had: "Run you till your tongue fall out." Fat Mary. I never can remember who
he
him
called
and Jeff,
Stephanie that when she was pregnant.
Him and Jeff Cloninger had a very good relationship too, and it was every time I saw them together, it was something about Fat Mary. He was always referring to Fat Mary.
Another nickname, Wally Hog. He would call people.
Yeah.
Call people jack legs. Be at the back barbershop. Call you a jack leg. Yeah.
Those days will be missed, but you know what? He's got a legacy. And he'll always be remembered. And I can imagine that they're going to do something at some of the football games to honor Kojak.
Well, I mean, in the past, for iconic personalities, you know, they've dedicated programs. I don't know, but I'm sure they'll do something.
This one's a little special too.
It is.
You know, so
it is. Even more so.
And there's
I could see a statue.
Somebody that's worn the black and gold as much as anybody ever.
Right.
As much as anybody ever. Yeah.
Those, if you ride by the Citizen Center, there's a banner hanging outside the Citizen Center with Kojak's picture on it and stuff. It's a nice banner that's out there.
That's good.
I think on the marquee by the Lincoln Police Station got something, you know, it's R.I.P. Kojak on their marquee. So,
excellent.
Yeah.
That's great, Jason, and you know, I'm glad you wanted to stop in and talk about him a little bit.
Do you know, Jason, they lined up a set of speakers? Can just talk?
Yeah, there's 15 people listed. I'm actually going to be one of the speakers listed to speak. So that's why this funeral service starts at 1 p.m. It
Right.
says until. We do ask people to be 3 to 5 minutes, but how
You're right.
sometimes get up there to speak.
If you name me the speakers, I'll tell you. No, I don't want you to
Hello.
name them all.
I
I'll-
actually have the list in the car.
I'll tell you if they can go 3 to 5 minutes. Or not.
But for those, just like I said, funeral services this afternoon at 1 o'clock. Monday will be the processional. He will be buried on Monday at Forest Lawn Cemetery. So the processional will start at 1 p.m. For those that want to participate in it, be at Lincoln High School at 12:30. Lincoln High School parking lot at 12:30 on Monday. What's going to happen is the hearse is
that's
going
going to be great.
Yeah, the hearse is going to take him around the track one last time down at the football field. And then once they're going to put his casket up on the fire truck, and then the fire truck will lead the processional down to the cemetery.
Whoa! I wonder. I don't know that that's ever happened in Lincoln.
Yeah, I don't either.
For that kind of public display. Fire truck, that is appropriate.
Kojak will be missed. We're going to take another time out. We appreciate you tuning in to Sports Talk. He'll be mentioned throughout the rest of the show, I'm sure, at some point in time. He will be missed. Back in a moment.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit MooneyInsurance.com. Times convenience stores are more than convenient. They're your neighborhood store, your store. With locations in Lincoln, Catawba, Gaston, Iredell, and Mecklenburg counties, there's one near you. Times convenience stores have the right items at the right price, from snacks, cold drinks, and light meals from the grill, and there's always a special to save you time and money. Times has what you need. Times convenience stores, there's one near you. Regardless of where you're going, there's one on your way. Remember, there's always time to stop by Times. Have you thought about when you would like to retire? One of your major assets is planning for retirement is time, and you lose a little of it each day. The longer you wait to start accumulating capital for retirement, the harder it's going to be. How should you plan for retirement? Start by calculating approximately how much capital you will need at retirement, then estimate how much you will have to put away each year. Finally, carefully choose the investments in which you will invest. Stiefel Nicholas can assist you. Call 4 Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stiefel Nicholas, member SIPC, and the New York Stock Exchange. First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily, or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
In the best of times, no one is more deserving of every opportunity, encouragement, and support than the youth in our communities. Parents, teachers, coaches, and sponsors struggle to stretch their budgets to continue help. Communities need a team effort. Times Oil Corporation, a longtime member of the community, established the Times Educational Alliance Mission, or Team Foundation. Since 2011, over $125,000 in grants have been donated in the community. Times Oil and the Team Foundation are proud to be community partners.
And welcome back to Sports Talk. David, Mike, Jason, Brett. Oh, just looking at different things, and of course we're going to get into Legion baseball here a little bit. But Jays set franchise mark 28 runs last night over the Red Sox. This is the one that will affect everybody in the room. Vince McMahon is retiring.
They got him up out the paint. Whoever did this to get Vince up out the paint, I need them to come and do the same thing and get Dan Snyder out the paint.
Yeah, how much? You know, I have no idea, and I don't follow wrestling and all this stuff. But
McMahon has come that he had some indiscretions in relationships with former employees that he allegedly took $12 million of company money to pay him off. So that's what they're looking to.
Well, my question is going to be, what's he worth?
A lot.
Yeah.
But once you start messing with the money,
a lot.
Hey, to get somebody out the paint, you start messing with the money. That'll get you out real quick.
And how old is he? That he's going
77.
77. My goodness, he waited a long time to retire, didn't he? But yeah.
His daughter will be taking over.
Yeah, daughter and Nick Khan, and Nick Khan, who's former agent of CAA, and I think he had a hand in help creating First Take also with ESPN. So yeah,
it says $2.4 billion. It's his net worth.
$2.4 billion.
Yeah,
yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. Former Braves Cubs outfielder Smith dies at age 58. Help me here. Dwight Smith.
Yeah, was on the '95 Braves World Series team.
Okay. Wow. And there was a former NFL player, wasn't there, like 43 years old, that passed away this week as well. I think I saw that maybe midweek. We lose a lot of athletes. Well, we lose a lot of people, period. Right. But a lot of athletes that, some people and celebrities in the spotlight that we recognize. For some reason, the name slips me right now on that on that NFL player. Maybe I even got that wrong, but I think that is the case. Also, I wanted to mention a couple things that Lenny said about the Major League Baseball. He was talking about Gurriel last night didn't hurt his batting average, going 6 hits in 7 at bats. I'm guessing that was in the Gurriel's. Is he still?
There are two. Toronto has one, and so Houston has one.
Yeah, okay. I thought that one was still with Houston. Are they brothers? Or
I don't know.
Or just Gurriel's. Just saw this on MLB. This is according to Lenny. Wainwright has a 7-8 record and a 5.73 ERA in the Great American Ballpark. There's a little inside information. Butch Parker says Kojak used to call Tom Brown the bad boss. I thought that was pretty comical, but yeah.
They are brothers, the Gurriels.
Are they?
Yeah.
The brothers Gurriel.
I guess they would be like the Molina
well, there's 3 of them.
Right.
Yadier, Benji, and
I can't think of the third.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Can't think of that's bad.
Right.
That's that. Okay, who are the 3 you lose?
Moses.
No, Moises was the son.
Oh, the brother. All the original.
The brothers were
Felipe, Jesus,
and Maddie.
Maddie.
Yeah. but now I can't think of the third. Who did we just say a minute ago?
Molina.
The Molinas. Benji, Yadier, and Sam. Nah. Tom. Somebody help me. Who's the other Molina brother? I'm sure somebody will know it. Here it is. It was the former South Carolina quarterback, Phil Petty, passed away this week at age 43. Now, the name is familiar to me, but I can't really remember him playing. But that's coming from Butch. Former South Carolina quarterback Phil Petty died at age 43. Wow. I didn't hear any details or any. Most of the time you don't hear. Who would
he have played for?
If he's 43.
Well, I don't know if he went to the NFL. I'm just saying he's out of South Carolina.
South
Carolina. Coach.
It
Okay.
would have been in the late 90s, early 2000s. He would have been playing.
Could have been Spurrier. When was Spurrier down there?
Spurrier was still.
He was later.
He was a little later.
How about Morrison?
I know about Lou
Jim Morrison when he wasn't with the Doors.
Third Molina brother, Jose
Molina. Yeah. We should have guessed that at some point. Let's see. I did not see any more. It's kind of a quiet week this week with the All-Star break.
College football. ACC had their media day this week.
It did.
Commissioner Jim Phillips there. He gets up there talking about we're doing good. Everything's doing good in the league except when it comes to revenue. Well, that's the biggest problem coming up in college sports right now while teams are jumping conferences is because of the revenue.
The ACC has a major problem because they're tied into their current TV contract till 2035.
Until 2035.
Why make such a long commitment?
Well, at the time they made the commitment, it was one, they were guaranteed letting the schools know, hey, we got this money coming in from a TV deal, at the long-term deal. What they didn't see was how the other conferences deals are going to be shorter and they were going to get more money sooner.
Yeah.
It's projected that the SEC and the Big Ten teams are going to, within the next 4 years, will be getting almost $100 million a year each school from the TV contract. Notre Dame is asking for they're telling NBC $75 million a year to remain independent from NBC. Right now, they currently get $22 million a year. So,
also heard this week that and more rumors out there flying that the next group may be Miami and Clemson that jump ship and move to the SEC.
The key thing has to be the grant of rights thing that the ACC has that hold these teams. If you leave, so any ACC schools decide to leave to go to another conference, the ACC holds their grant of rights until their current TV deal ends, which means that school won't receive the money. That money goes back to the conference that they left. Yeah. So those teams will have to challenge that.
And that ends when?
2035.
35.
Until 2035.
That's a long time.
Yeah, you're right. That's
the biggest hold up. That's the incentive the ACC put in after Maryland left them to go to the Big Ten. They wanted something that basically entice teams to stay in the conference and not leave.
I guess one thing, though, that, it seems like all contracts can be broken.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, lawsuits.
Right.
And
that's what it would take for a school would have to basically want to file suit against the ACC.
And I'm going to tell you right now, most of them are going to win if they say, we have the opportunity to go here and make 30% more. How can you lock us up here when we can go over here and make 30% more? Maybe it don't come to that, but that's the first thing that enters my mind is that those schools wanting out file suits. No. And is there still any indication as when Oklahoma and Texas
they go in
may join?
2025 is when they
still a long time.
I know it's still holding up. That's when the current TV contract ends.
But that's a lot different than 2035.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
I mean,
I listened to the podcast yesterday on Dan Le Batard show with Stugatz. John Skipper, the former president of ESPN. He's now the CEO of Metal Art Media there. He basically proposed he could see that you get 4 conferences of 16 teams. You have 64 teams in that they form they run their own league. Those four conferences, and that would be something. If he was still president of ESPN, he would be pushing for those 4 16-team leagues. Conferences, you form your own league, you form your own unit, you govern your own selves, you get away from the NCAA, because eventually those same 4 conferences can put together their own basketball tournament that could be more profitable than the current NCAA tournament.
Hey, we know who the final 64 would be.
Right.
Well,
He came out and said that would be something. He was still president of ESPN and pushing for TV and wanting to, because you got to have the product and the landscape to do so, to put the games out that he's looking for. That's what he would be pushing for them behind the scenes.
There'd
Well, I
be
can
no
see
more
that.
whining on Selection Sunday.
Yeah.
You're in.
I can see it for football, but the one thing the NCAA still does well, they still do tournaments well.
Yeah, they could put on the tournament.
They still do. They
Yeah.
still do March Madness well, and the College World Series and all that.
But if you think about it, if say they do form a super league for college and college sports, so you get for the Power Four, and they have 16 teams. They create, from a football playoff standpoint, you can have a 16-team tournament from that
I'm all for
standpoint,
that.
from a playoff standpoint. From your basketball standpoint, I'm sure ESPN would be chopping at the bit, ready to offer whatever they want to outbid Turner. I wouldn't see Turner and CBS wanting to. They break away, if they can break away from their deal with the NCAA right now. But ESPN would then have the landscape to put on the basketball, and ESPN covers all the college football playoff. They would dominate it right now.
Yep, I was sitting here thinking the first thing is if we go to 64 teams in a group, that's better than what we got now for college football, because
for football.
out of the 100 and whatever we
Right.
got, but still it doesn't change how many teams can win the national championship. If you put 64 in there, there's still only 12, only a dozen.
But you have a 16-team playoff. That way they get those.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
you have a good shot at.
it does help.
Yeah.
But it's still, at this point, I mean, the way things are, the rich are still going to get richer, and those teams are going to be, only that certain handful of teams will be in the Final Four.
And it can be a possibility it happened, because right now the NCAA does not run the college football playoff.
No,
when
they
they stand from D1 football, they do not crown their champions not crowned by the NCAA. So they're already in the steps to forming their own governing body, with the college football playoff. So maybe give it another 4 or 5 years, because when USC and Oklahoma UCLA joining the Big Ten, Apple was talking with the Big Ten prior to those two teams joining. Apple dropped out of the race as far as wanting to air Big Ten games. Now it's once UCLA and USC joined in, Apple's back in it. Now there's the talks that Apple's ready to offer over $100 million, to broadcast games. Apple's also in the game with may get Sunday Ticket. The NFL is putting that up. Apple's in the game for that now. So these streaming services between Amazon and Apple, they're going to start coming. They're ready to get in carrying sports rights, and they're going to start dropping a lot of money.
Yesterday, I'm gonna read a couple of texts, but yesterday, for the first time, I watched. Well, not the first time. I watched it years ago. You guys familiar with the New York sports show, Boomer and what's the other guy's name?
Geo.
That's
Yeah.
on CBS.
Well, they weren't on there yesterday, but the fill-ins were really good and had a topic that really opened my eyes. I'm gonna mention a minute. First, let me mention a couple of these texts that have come in. Let's see. Rodney Willis says it's pretty interesting that this week the Contreras brothers, William and Wilson, were in the starting batting order back-to-back in the 6 and 7 spots for the National League All-Stars.
Oh, nice.
So I don't know how long, if that's ever happened. I don't know if you've had two brothers in the starting lineup in an All-Star game or not. We may have named them if it was, maybe the Molinas or the Alous at one time. I don't
Could
really
be.
know. But that is interesting that brothers both in the All-Star game and hitting back-to-back. I don't know which two teams those guys, Brett, you probably know the –
Is it Cubs and Braves?
Is it Cubs and Braves?
I think it is.
Okay. So that is interesting.
I know one's with the Braves, and the other one, I know he did play for the Cubs. Unless he's been traded, he's still a Cub. Wilson Contreras.
Right. And Butch says he talked with Coach Bob Stoops yesterday. Mike will be interested to know this. Now I don't understand. What's he doing right now?
Well, he was coaching wasn't he the coach of the USFL team?
I think
Okay.
so, yeah.
Well, it
I
says
don't know.
here, Butch said he is retiring to coach the XFL this February.
Okay, the XFL.
So,
Okay.
and he says Dallas, going to coach
Dallas.
in Dallas.
Well, wasn't he was doing something at Oklahoma, right? Wasn't he
Well, he filled
over
in.
football operations or something?
I think that may be what he's retiring from.
He had an office job at Oklahoma, and then he stepped in to coach a game when Lincoln Riley left.
Yeah, the bowl game.
So I'm guessing.
I think he had an administrative job.
I think he did too.
At Oklahoma.
Yeah,
so he's retiring from that. To
I guess, but here's my question though: at what point does he return to college football?
Well, he's still in his 50s.
I mean, why would he even get back into coaching? Unless the check is just so big.
I'm about to say, seeing the contract Kirby Smart just signed this week. I mean,
okay, how much was it?
I think it's over $10 million a season.
It is, over 10%, and it's 10 years, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's like a 10-year, $112 million.
Something like that.
Well, you know what happens when that happens? In 3 years, he'll be ready to run him off.
Students, in his case, he might want to wait and see how everything unfolds with these conferences. Depending, if he wants to get back into college coaching.
Would he ever return to Oklahoma, Mike Powell? I mean, you're the Oklahoma guy here. You're the fan. Would he ever return to Oklahoma, or would he want to make a mark somewhere else? And I don't know where that might be.
I don't see him going back to Oklahoma. He put in, 18 years?
But it sounds to me like, I don't know where all he's been and where all he's lived, but he's staying right in that area.
I was surprised Florida State hadn't offered him. He used to be coordinator under Bobby Bowden at Florida State. I was surprised they really.
Florida State went with who? As their.
They're still with Mike Norvell. Is it Mike Norvell?
I can't even remember.
Mike Norvell.
Yeah, Mike Norvell.
And his roots are in Ohio, Youngstown, that area. I know.
And where did the Louisiana coach go? Was that Florida?
Florida.
Yes.
Okay. Billy Napier.
Yeah, Napier.
Yeah. Also a place that you expect at some point to.
Well, they're not
back.
near as.
Who's going to bounce back first? Florida's
not
State
down near as far as Florida State is.
Right.
I mean,
yeah, that's what I say. Which one? There's no reason that all three of them.
Florida's not far off from being
talent coming out of that
contender.
state. Who's going to bounce back first? Who will be the first one in that group to make the play? Who would you pick to be the first one?
I would Florida.
Yeah.
To make the playoff. If the playoff is
You mean
4
the college
teams,
playoff?
Florida might be a long way away just because of how good Georgia and Alabama are.
Yeah.
I mean, I would give Miami a better shot.
Yeah. And Ohio State is going to. I know you were just talking about the SEC, but as far as just taking the 4 spots, Ohio State, Michigan's probably going to go back and forth for one of those spots. I don't know. Can anybody in what we know now is the Big Ten, I don't know if that changes in the future, can anybody overtake those two? Not right away, right?
Michigan State,
I don't think Michigan's going to be long term.
They may not, but Michigan State lost last year to Ohio State like 49-0. It wasn't even. They had a good year.
Yeah,
Michigan State had a good year, but they still were just blown out by Ohio State. And I don't see anybody. I don't know. Iowa's good from time to time, but they seem to not be able to win.
Yeah, none of those are going to be on
Wisconsin,
Ohio State's level.
Wisconsin is
consistently
good, but not on the same level as.
I think Southern Cal's going to get back in the mix.
Southern Cal's going to. You just lit a fire.
The recruiting is taking off with,
and they should.
And with getting Lincoln Riley in, he got Williams to come in at quarterback, and they're finally recruiting back to the level of Pete Carroll.
He also took one of Oklahoma's top receivers, as I recall.
Who's the last team west of Texas to be in the?
Oregon's been in the playoffs.
Oregon made it.
Washington
made it, but not many.
Not
How about Utah, guys?
Not many on the other side.
Utah, they had a great showing against Ohio State in the Rose Bowl. It was just a up and down the field kind of game. Got everybody back.
A great showing, and I can't remember. Did they win or lose?
They lost.
Okay, but, not a great showing. A great showing would have been beating.
True.
Beating.
But it was a very high-scoring game.
And Butch says that Dallas has continued to pay him $1 million a year, even during COVID. He was working for Fox, but Urban Meyer is coming back. So Urban bumped him. He's gonna get that spot back.
Stoops is pretty good
on Fox
as a commentator. But a lot of coaches can be good at that.
Yep. Lenny says the grant aid was put in by the ACC, so we don't have a team leaving town.
The grant of rights.
Overnight, like Maryland did. Yep. That was a good thing at the time, along with the long-term TV deal, but the landscape of college football has changed so much in the last month. That contract might be a burden.
Right.
It's a huge burden.
Because
now.
and it's only, I'm saying only, but it's only paying the schools, I think, around less than $20 million a year that contract is paying out right now. So that's what those schools are contending
and the
with.
Big Ten schools are going to be making $100
Plus,
million.
and the SEC, and you know the SEC TV deal, ESPN is going to be the primary carrier for the SEC. No longer that won't have that
CBS
330.
is done. with
Yes,
that.
by 2024, I think when that goes in effect, the SEC fully over to ESPN. So
Before we take our next break, and I'm going to have to get my cord out. I'm going to start this discussion, let you guys get into it a little bit. But what I heard I told you about those New York guys yesterday, New York City guys, and the talk there was about, you know, the LIV golf and things like that. And they said, what if the Saudis wanted to start a football league to rival the NFL? And they say, hello, Patrick Mahomes, you're making, what's his number a year right now?
it's like around $40 million a year.
We'll pay you $150 million a year to move in our league, because I heard that the Saudis $240 billion right now. $240 billion is pretty much the depth of the pockets right now. What would happen? What would happen if they say, we're going to start a league, we want you to be the face of the franchise, Patrick, or whoever they went to, and we're going to pay you, you know, this kind of money? Could we see that landscape change too?
Oh, you definitely can see it. I mean, money talks big time. No matter how much money one player has, they always want more. How does the rich stay rich? By not losing their money. You know, so that's the one thing you can see. I would say what the Saudis are doing is what they call sports washing. It's essentially it's their legal way of money laundering. it's their legal way of money laundering here by putting these leagues in. It's not the first time that we've seen this in American sports come over. Look at the NBA. They had Mikhail Prokhorov, who was the owner of the Nets for a long time. He was doing the sports washing. Now Joe Tsai, the current owner of the Nets. So, and these leagues, PGA, I don't know that they made it live golf right now, but they've held tournaments in Saudi Arabia. They're taking the money. I mean,
well, I think the biggest thing that those guys talked about, you know, that not happening was it'd be harder to do it in team sports than it would be. You know, it'd be harder to get so many people to convert and come over in team sports than it would in an individual sport. I mean, you got one golfer. I mean, if you tell him you're going to multiply his payroll times 3, what he's making, you know, then, you know, it's easier for him to jump over. But
yeah,
it just wouldn't be as popular as the NFL. If it's about popularity and you know, I don't know how long it would take before they
could come over
had over 50% of what would be NFL players.
But think about it, what would be your roster size? You got 53 guys. NFL rosters, 53 active players on the roster. Are you paying them all over $100 million a year? If that's the case,
sounds like they might can. You know, with that kind of money.
I don't think it'd be that bottomless, but
I would hate it as an old school guy, a traditionalist that wants, you know, I don't want to see any of the major leagues break up.
No.
Baseball, NBA, hockey, or NFL, but the NFL would just be devastating.
Well, what would a day come that, like, if LIV or the backing of LIV, they come over, essentially it would be that they want to merge with these leagues, that they help fund these leagues. You know, the one thing that the NFL is always doing is looking a way to grow their revenue. If they want to partner with them, we'll basically be the funding behind your league to go along with your TV contracts and all that. I think that would be probably be the biggest play that with these leagues, like the PGA Tour right now with the golf. I can see the day when essentially they're going to merge together.
Well, they may merge together, but what I want to know about the golf is, will they soon ban the players in LIV from coming to the majors before that?
Right. And it's up to those majors to make that call for
each one individually. Yeah, I wonder why that is. Wonder why they do it that way, because they don't let you play on the rest of the tour. Because
those majors aren't sanctioned tour events. Okay. I mean, the tour, you know, they work in conjunction with the tour, but they're not governed by the tour. And speaking of, you see Charles Barkley's in talk with LIV Golf right now. They're offer him
the broadcast.
The broadcast events, and I've seen an article that he said he may have to end up leaving Turner, but he's already stated he was going to retire from Turner as soon as he turns 60, which means He would be 60 next year.
Why don't Charles just wait and help run the LIVBA? Hey, it could happen. I'm so glad that, honestly, Mike may feel the same way as I do. If I wake him up over there, I'll get it. I am so glad that I grew up in the sports era that I did, and that this is later in my life that all this mess is going on, because I just liked it back when it wasn't so much a business and people just played because of the love of the games.
Yeah.
And that seems to have just, for the most part, gone out the window.
Yeah. What I regret is just the loss of the rivalries and geographic connections in college football.
Yeah. Well, I remember days when baseball was a more level playing field. Baseball's the worst right now.
Oh, yeah.
As far as the best of the best and the worst of the worst. I mean, it's the biggest gap of any of the professional sports. But college football. I mean, there was a time when a BYU won a title. A Colorado shared a national title. Georgia, and that's not happening with the current setup. That's not going to happen anytime in the near future. You'll like this, Jason. Butch says USC has signed 40 mercenaries this year. Lenny said the grant aid. Let's see, I read that one, didn't I? Yeah. It's all about cha-ching money today in all sports.
In all sports, and it's because
just sports either, though.
But the money's coming from the TV, because TV need the product. What's the best ratings on TV right now? The highest rated events are sporting events, primarily NFL football, followed by college football. If you look at TV ratings, that's what's generating a lot of this.
We may truly one day have a real World Series. Right, might not just be limited to the United States, right?
Right. You talk about the mercenaries. The USC signed Josh Downs, North Carolina star wide receiver. He at media days this week. He talked about how a bunch of teams were coming after him, wanting him to transfer from Carolina to go elsewhere. And he talking about how he just fit him off. He said the reason was his youngest brother is a top high school recruit, so as they're recruiting his brother. Oh, come on, Josh, why don't you leave Carolina? Y'all suffering there. Come on, we can give you this in NIL. We can give you that in NIL. So,
yeah, that's getting out of hand too. I mean,
and there's no way to police it.
No, there's not. No, there's not.
It's gone beyond just name, image, likeness.
Hey, look, you see this table right here? You don't have to hand the cash under it anymore.
No,
you can go right over the top and flaunt it.
And where it comes to is these collectives. So us five in this room, we can be a collective. Say we can pull together our money.
We're not going to get much.
No, we ain't going to get much. But we're a collective, right? We know a top high school recruit. Say we all want to go to a certain school. We pull together our money and say, here, we put this NIL package deal together for you. Here you go. Bam.
And you would think at some point that the best teams are going to be whoever has the richest alumni. Yep. Or if you get sponsors in large cities, you start getting those car dealers and stuff like that to come up and help you in some of these larger cities. Nobody's going to compete with that. I mean, it's just so much money.
But the biggest fear factor is now who is really in charge of the college program? Is it the alumni and the collective that got these to put this NIL package together to get these players, or is it the coach that's in charge? Because if the coach says something wrong, the alumni don't like it. We get the coach out of here. You're not going to mess with our player.
The coach isn't in charge. That's the people holding the money.
Yeah, it's always the money.
Yep,
that's what makes me think a school like Miami could get back in it
quick.
Well, that's what John
big money
Ruiz,
down there.
The big guy, John Ruiz, that run this LifeLock or whatever it is down there. He's the big money guy behind it. He's been talking a lot, been the mouthpiece saying stuff in the media that a lot of the Miami folks like, man, be quiet, keep it quiet. But yeah, he's talking about how he's put together this stuff and put together that. Now he's talking about eventually he wants to build a new stadium for Miami.
They may have to change their name from Hurricanes to Star Island or something like that. Something that Miami Vice. That'd be kind of fitting as well, wouldn't it? But yeah, everything seems to be changing. Everything seems to be changing one way or another in the landscape of sports. Let's see. Went through the Major League Baseball scores. We won't talk Legion Baseball. We'll take a time out before we do that. However, Cherville last night, a 5-4 win over Queen City to clinch the area for championship. We'll talk about that and more after this timeout.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit mooneyinsurance.com. Times convenience stores are more than convenient. They're your neighborhood store, your store. With locations in Lincoln, Catawba, Gaston, Iredell, and Mecklenburg counties, there's one near you. Times convenience stores have the right items at the right price, from snacks, cold drinks, and light meals from the grill, and there's always a special to save you time and money. Times has what you need. Times convenience stores, there's one near you. Regardless of where you're going, there's one on your way. Remember, there's always time to stop by Times. Have you thought about when you would like to retire? One of your major assets is planning for retirement is time, and you lose a little of it each day. The longer you wait to start accumulating capital for retirement, the harder it's going to be. How should you plan for retirement? Start by calculating approximately how much capital you will need at retirement, then estimate how much you will have to put away each year. Finally, carefully choose the investments in which you will invest. Stiefel Nicholas can assist you. Call Fort Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stiefel Nicholas, member SIPC, and the New York Stock Exchange. First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily, or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
In the best of times, no one is more deserving of every opportunity, encouragement, and support than the youth in our communities. Parents, teachers, coaches, and sponsors struggle to stretch their budgets to continue help. Communities need a team effort. Times Oil Corporation, a longtime member of the community, established the Times Educational Alliance Mission, or Team Foundation. Since 2011, over $125,000 in grants have been donated in the community. Times Oil and the Team Foundation are proud to be community partners.
Welcome back to Sports Talk, fourth quarter here, as we wind down the show this morning. David, Mike, Brett, Jason, here with you. Now, I want to make sure that I point out to Lenny, I did not put this in past tense, but he did. Lenny says, "Amen, David, with that comment you made about the era you and I lived in." Now, I don't want no D. I don't want no D at the.
That sounds former, past.
I want to
over.
say the era we grew up in. That's what I want. Way I want to put the era we grew up in. Let's not get rid of us yet, Lenny. Let's enjoy some more sports. At least we can hope so. Mike and I are older, obviously, than Jason and Brett. They're pretty close, same age, and Mike's a whole lot older than me. But we'll that's neither here nor there.
Only in years.
But do you all of us? I know Jason's answer to this, and I know Brett's answer to this. In some sports, is it still must see? You got to get in every day and see what's going on in the sports world. You got to get your game on TV. I know Brett does when it's the Dodgers playing him, but I don't know how. Is it the number one thing you go? Is it your go-to when you get home when it comes to the television?
Well, I got to at least turn to Sports Center at some point in the day. I
don't watch it every night.
I don't watch it. I put it on.
I don't.
Usually, I put it on right before I go to sleep, or something. At least catch some scores or a little bit of highlights on there. But in the morning time, when I get up in the morning, that's the first thing I turn on, the ESPN Sports Center, and then I'll turn it over to the ESPN, ESPN News to watch the radio show, see what's going on there. Some type of sports to start my day, and some type of sports to end my day.
Yeah.
And I'm out of school right now, but the morning stuff.
Now I can't do all the first take or nothing like that.
Well, I know, and there's very few morning shows that.
I'm gonna tell you where I get my fix.
I don't like Get Up.
I'll watch Get Up for about an hour, but it gets old.
Gets old.
Get old. That's what.
Because there's nothing going on.
And if it's a Wednesday, I know two things are gonna be talked about on Get Up First Take every Wednesday: the Cowboys and LeBron James.
Yeah. Why is it Wednesday? Why is it
Wednesday's the most boring day in sports if you think about it? Because
you're
too early ahead in the week for games to come up, and then by Monday, Tuesday, you talk about the games that just happened.
This past week was the worst sports week of the year because nobody cares about the All-Star game anymore.
I didn't watch any
that
of them.
became obvious because it was the least watched All-Star game in Major League Baseball history.
It's only 3 days all year with no major professional sports event.
And last year, if I'm not mistaken, they didn't even play on Thursday. They didn't come back till Friday. There was a year they skipped. This year we had a handful of games. I think there was 6 games, although
there were 5 or 6.
2 were double headers. You had
two
2 double headers was the Astros, Yankees, Tigers, and somebody. And then there were 2 other games. So there were 6 games all day. But it was at least you had something, and you had good matchups with the Yankees and Astros. But those 3 days, I didn't care at all who won. That home run derby is useless.
I didn't watch
to me.
Any. Well,
let me read who won it, and that's all I need to know. I'm not going to sit there and watch somebody hit 19 home runs in a round. That takes up 20 minutes for somebody to hit 19 home runs, and it gets boring. What does it matter? Who cares if it went 500 feet? I mean, at some point, the home run derby, you just get burnt out. How many home runs would you say were hit?
I didn't see anything, so I can't
in the derby. Brett, just a guess. Couple hundred?
Yeah.
I mean, would it be a couple? Who wants to just sit there? And then there's people sitting in the bleachers. I can see, 10-year-old boys enjoying that, over and over, especially if they're in the outfield or something, got a chance to get one of them. But it just, I'm not there. I like the game of baseball. I don't care that much about the derbies and the, just like the dunk contest used to be fun to watch.
Right,
but what is it now? Everybody can do it.
Right.
The athletes are so good that everybody can do this.
The stars aren't doing it anymore.
The stars aren't doing it anymore. And then those that get out there, they're trying this crazy dunk. They miss it 5 times in a row. You're like, okay, I'm tired of seeing this dunks now. It's like, come on.
And in football, they used to do the skills competition with the quarterbacks and stuff like that. But who cares? Who cares if you can hit a bullseye target that's moving across the field at 3 miles an hour?
Yeah.
These
are just gimmicks.
It is. So I don't care for any of that. And the jokes, you talking about jokes, I mean, all those all-star games are jokes because they're not competitive. Now, here you go, Lenny.
The best one I still love is the NBA, and then I like the NBA put in the Elam ending rule, which means you play to a target score. So it might be like a pickup basketball game that we play 21 or something.
Not a clock.
So I love that's about the only all-star
game.
At
least they do go out there.
The NBA is the best one.
It has to be.
Yeah.
And
it has to be.
When the game's on the line at the end, they got the best players out there.
Yep.
Right.
Baseball's already put all their subs in
And did you see what the baseball said? If the game would have went to extra innings, they would have did a home run derby.
Yeah, I did say that. How
Determine the
stupid
winner.
is that? How stupid is that? Just how they put the runner on second now and
yeah.
just load them up. Just load the bases. Don't do a home run derby. Just load the bases with no outs and see how many you can get. Right.
Right.
That'd be more exciting than the home run derby. But as Lenny said, the era we lived in, the All-Star game meant something. They tried to beat each other. The National League and the American League wanted to be, the best league. For years and years and years, the National League dominated. Now I think the American League's won like what?
9
in a row.
Is it 9 in a row?
That was 9.
Yeah.
But you know where I get my sports
Don't
fix
understand.
now? Instead of watching a lot of it on TV, I listen to podcasts. I listen to podcasts constantly, so I get my sports fix.
I do
fix
too.
now.
Who's some of the better?
Well,
Tony Kornheiser's
you
my
like Tony
fave.
Kornheiser, Dan Patrick. If you can't catch his radio show,
I listen.
live,
I watched Dan Patrick
Dan
on my-
Levitar
on here,
show.
on
That whole,
Peacock.
Yeah,
that
Dan
whole
Levitar.
network. That's as far as listen to, and then
And Levitard's good.
yeah, him and Stu Gotts. they get-
Afraid to ask, is his dad still
No, Poppy. They don't do the TV show no more.
okay?
So yeah.
But I just wonder, is he still?
No, it's
alive?
Poppy,
Okay.
Poppy makes an appearance every now.
Okay.
Come in once a week on the show, and they do a little section with him. His whole crew.
Him and Stu Gotts
Yeah.
actually, much as I like Levitard, those two made the show.
Right.
Yeah, when
Stu
it was
Gotts
on
being
TV.
so crazy.
Yeah, I like
And-
Kornheiser, and I always have to watch PTI too.
It's still a good
5:30.
show. It's still a good show. Yeah, those two together, Michael Wilbon.
Around the Horn, not as much as I used to like it, but it's.
Is Woody
I'll
still
watch
on?
it. He was on yesterday.
I would watch it just to see Woody's chalkboard.
Yeah,
because it was
he's still there, but
the best one ever was. I'm just about to run out of cha.
Yeah, he does a lot of those. A lot of new faces.
Yeah, a lot of younger faces.
A lot of younger faces moving into roles as panelists on that. But good show.
Well, last night in Cherryville Post 100 wrapped up its 20th Area 4 championship all time. It's third straight. It's fourth in the past 5 seasons. We don't want to say third. Get this, we don't want to say fourth in the past 5 years because it didn't really happen that way because we jumped a year with COVID. There was a season there we didn't have, but in the last 5 seasons played, Cherryville's won 4 of those Area 4 titles. 20 is the most all time by any Area 4 team. I don't even know who would be second, Mike. Do you know who would be second?
Would you have to look to Wilmington or
No,
out east?
Area 4?
Area 4.
Oh no, Area 4.
Shelby?
I would go back to maybe Gastonia or
Gastonia if you go back into
yeah.
the 50s.
Yeah, you have to.
Some of those
Yep.
times, yeah.
Shelby/Cleveland County, like it's called now. I'm guessing there. And Caldwell used to win some, but man, they haven't won an Area 4 title
They've
since 2001.
yeah, and we talked about.
Yeah, they can't be second.
No,
There's
No.
no way they got
No.
more than
No.
those other two.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so either. I mean, Gastonia was really strong in the early days, in the 40s,
and Cherryville program been in operation. What did we say? 85 years.
they got shirts this year. It says it's their
85
85th
years.
season
Oh, wow.
of American Legion
I
baseball.
don't know.
Mike covered 84 of those.
Yeah. Started in 38. Anyway.
But
But, you know, one thing they haven't won, David, in a while, and
it's
that's
a state championship.
2010.
It's 2011.
11.
2011.
That's right. 2011.
Well, don't short them a year there.
No.
2011. That was
no,
Morehead
that.
City. So I think that was,
That's right,
That was
Morehead City.
last time.
Morehead City, who I am desperately hoping would get the tournament next year. I think it moves to Area 2 next year. Well, that was one of the better
It was good.
locations
It was.
to have the state tournament. Of course, this week's state tournament's coming up in the town of Bowie's Creek,
Louis Creek.
North Carolina, on the campus of Campbell University.
No tackle box tavern.
No tackle
No,
box
Bowie's
tavern
Creek.
in Bowie's Creek,
Yeah.
even though it sounds like a creek ought to have a tackle box and a tavern. But well, I will say this: Coach Reynolds already told me where to meet him, where the hangout would be, the after game meal, so to speak.
Well, it is a college campus.
It
so
is.
There's got to be
There's gotta
stuff
some
nearby.
establishments,
Yeah.
yeah.
But things will get underway. Let's go through the game last night before we talk about the state tournament coming up. Mike, you've got the book there in front of you.
Yeah.
And Cherryville jumped out to an early lead last night, but then fell behind 4-1 before overcoming that 3-run deficit and prevailing and winning the Area 4 championship by a score of 5-4. Talk about it.
Yeah. Of course, you mentioned 1-0 earlier. Then the 4-run fourth inning by the Queen City Mustangs.
Scored all their runs in one inning.
Yeah.
And hit the ball well that inning.
Oh yeah, they had 4 hits that inning, and they chased a Cherville starter, Ashton Pope, and brought in Zane Brockman, who did a heck of a job. I mean, to limit that could have been a really big inning, but he came in and there were no outs at the time. He did give up a 2-run double, but I don't know. You really couldn't count.
Wasn't charged to him, though. We talked about that after the game.
We talked about that last night. So got him out of the inning with no more damage, and then after that, he was terrific. 5th, 6th, and 7th innings, pitched shutout ball, struck out 5 batters during that stretch, and also in the pivotal top of the 7th, he retired. Queen City retired the side, 3 up, 3 down, including a strikeout of Donovan Hinkle to end the game. So,
as I look, Mike, he retired the final 8 batters.
Yep.
He allowed a hit to Thomas Jones to start the 5th, and then picked him off.
Yes, he did.
So he retired the final 8 batters in order after that pickoff, which also impressive. And they got the same kind of performance in Game 6 against the Gaston Braves out of the shortstop Landon Hahn, who came in to pitch in relief. The last 2, Coach Reynolds pulled the right plugs in the last 2 outings there with his relief pitcher, because both of them came in and were dominant. I think 11 out of 12 is what Hahn retired against the Braves, and then 8 straight there to end the game. I mean, that's unbelievable in American Legion baseball, which is, usually a hitter's game. But this is – how many times did Cherville bunt over the last week? Successfully bunt.
Just innumerable times.
I've not seen that in years out of any team.
Stolen bases, moving the baseball.
Double steal last night.
Double steal, just generating runs. We talked about how effective they were at that, and they have to be, because I think anyone agrees who's seen much of this team knows that it's not one of the better hitting ball clubs that Cherville has put out there. So they have to do these other things. It's a very good bunting team. Almost everybody on the club can do that. So, great performance by Brockman in relief, just like the same kind that we had from Landon Hahn the night before. Joseph Webb had a good game. Had a couple hits, scored a couple runs. Landon Hahn was 2 for 3, but mainly it was just the way they generated runs. Took advantage of some hit batters.
Well, I was just sitting here counting. They drew 4 walks. They had 2 hit batters.
2 hit batters.
Of those, Mike, in their 5 runs, 1 reached by being hit, and one of the walks also came in to score. So that's 2 of their 5 runs right there. Yep. We talked about this last night during the game, Mike. Cherville in the 4th inning scored 2 runs and didn't put the ball in play.
No, didn't even put the ball in play. And one of the runs scored on a wild pitch.
Yep.
So
in that inning, there was a walk, a strikeout, a hit batter,
a hit batter
again.
That was
bad. Right. And that's what I was getting to. Then a strikeout, a catcher interference, which scored a run because the bases were loaded, and then a strikeout. They did not put a ball in play that inning, yet they sent 7 batters to the plate.
Wow.
Yep.
So they force you to throw strikes. They force you to make the plays. And their opponents haven't been able to do that so far.
Yeah, and in the previous series against the Braves, the Gaston Braves, which was a really entertaining series, it was just a matter of mistakes. They made fewer mistakes than Gaston, and had good relief pitching. They had good starting pitching for the most part, except for one game. And that's been their forte, pitching and sturdy defense.
Yep.
And generating runs somehow, scratching, clawing.
It is not a good hitting baseball team.
No,
they are not a good hitting baseball team, but they
No.
do the other stuff well.
And that's been good enough so far to get them where they are.
I'll put it this way: they're not a good hitting baseball team, but they're a good executing team on offense.
Mm-hmm.
They execute what they try to do.
question.
They execute what they try to do. Not only have they had some bunts, great sacrifice bunts, but they've had some of those bunts go for hits. You know, I mean, who dropped the one last night down the third baseline that he dropped it in such a perfect position that he was at first base before the third baseman got to the ball.
Wow.
Yeah,
I mean, I
I
said he could have had a double. It might have been.
Landon Hahn.
Yeah, I
maybe?
think it was either Hahn or Hahn is the first one that came to mind, so I'm guessing that's probably who it was, and that would have been in probably that final at bat, in which he came in to score the go ahead run at the time in the bottom of the sixth, which wound up being the winning run. Now Cherryville had a chance to really put some distance between themselves and Queen City in the bottom of the sixth, but Queen City also got good pitching as well. And hats off to Queen City, Mike. Their first ever trip.
Yeah, let's give them credit.
To the state tournament.
That's what I was just about to ask. Is that first trip?
It is their first trip, and they're the only newcomer to the.
And you got to love
state
Gerald
tournament.
Young, who's
31
years in American Legion baseball in the Charlotte area, and it's good to see him get a team back to the state tournament or in that.
Used to always play their games at Myers Park, but
Myers
this year I think there's construction going on at Myers Park, so they're unable to use that field. So they were just nomads.
Yeah,
they were just
pretty much.
all over the place
Now,
trying to
is
find
Queen,
place.
Queen City former Charlotte Post 262s?
It is.
Okay.
It is.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
And from what I understand, well, I'll tell you guys off there. Don't want to say. Maybe shouldn't say that on there. I'll tell you guys off there if you remind me. I'll tell you something about Post 262 and Cherville's relationship. But good to see that organization go. I don't know. We've been debating this, Mike. We can't really. I need just kind of to look at the history myself. But are they the first Mecklenburg County team to make the state tournament since Pineville in the mid 2000s?
Yeah.
I remember y'all asked about that. I think Pineville last won the area. Was the area what 2006?
Well, see, they didn't have to win the area.
Not
they could have
area.
been runner-up.
But
and
they
make
were,
it.
they were.
But I don't
2006 is
was
when
it
I
06?
remember. 06 was Pineville.
06,
Yeah.
that makes okay.
'Cause,
Sounds about
yeah.
right.
And then Pineville they don't even have a team right now.
Not right
you know?
now.
And Matthews, it was their first year back in a while. It's
How
just
about
like
Mint
it's
Hill?
moving around
Mint
a little
Hill
bit.
was-
Mint Hill had a team, but I don't remember them making the state. You know, we talked about Union County had been twice, but one year they hosted down at Wingate. And then there was another year that they also made the state tournament, but that's Union County. That's not Mecklenburg.
Well, Huntersville had a team for a while.
Never made
played
it.
at North Mac.
Yeah,
But I remember Cherryville playing them in a series, but I don't remember them making the state tournament.
Yeah.
But that's Devin. I guess you're going to mention the teams in the state tournament. but
Yes.
It's generally the programs that have been strong over the decades.
Yeah, I'm looking at the names now. And just like, yeah.
Well, yeah, I was going to say,
Probably lose them down.
for those folks that haven't even looked or don't know the teams, they could name 5 or 6 of them off
Absolutely.
the top of their head. It's
Right.
similar to college
Like,
football
there's
playoffs.
usually 3 you can pencil in. Just about Wilmington, Rowan, and Cherryville. Just about those 3 you about
Pretty
pencil
much.
in.
Don't forget Randolph
And
now
Randolph
because
now,
they've been
they've been very good.
steady. Let's see. Read a couple things real quick. One is on Major League Baseball, and he says Scherzer last night passed 2 pretty good names on the list. He moved up to 15th on the all-time list of wins. He passed Kurt Schilling and Bob Gibson last night.
Those are pretty
yes,
good names.
Yes, it is. And Zane Brockman is starting to get his feet under him. Counted back, and I think he has thrown 18 to 19 innings all season. And last night he looked very sharp.
Scherzer didn't win. They lost the game. That must have been a strikeout list or
He's talking about.
something.
Yeah, it doesn't say wins. It just says all-time list. So
Probably strikeouts.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Great point that Lenny. It's Lenny, right, who
Yep.
made about
Brockman.
I don't think that Cherryville would be in this position to go to the state tournament had he not
Come
been
around.
able to come
Yeah.
around.
Yeah, he was injured and didn't pitch
only
early
pitched
on.
2 innings during the regular season, but he's certainly been pivotal for them. He's sort of really given them that another starter or reliever, whatever you want to call it, and solidified or bolstered their pitching staff.
And Lenny does confirm that it was Landon Hahn that laid down that nice bunt down the third baseline. That, like I said, third baseman, he didn't get to it till if Hahn wasn't at the bag, he wasn't but a step away whenever he got there. If you're wondering, these teams, the state tournament begins on Tuesday at 10 a.m. It's pool play, so everybody's guaranteed 3 games. Best 2 records out of each pool will meet in the semifinals on Friday at 4:30 and 7, and then the championship game right now is set for 1 o'clock on Saturday. Let's see what this thing do to me.
I got it pulled up here in front of me here.
Yep. 1 o'clock on Saturday. I'm just going to go through the teams. The Area 4 teams are the Queen City Mustangs and Cherryville Post 100. The Area 3 teams are Rowan County and Randolph County. Out of Area 2, Fuquay Varina, the host team Fuquay Varina, along with Hope Mills. And out of Area 1 is Pitt County. I got those wrong. Let's do this again. Pitt County and Fuquay, and then Hope Mills and Wilmington out of Area 1. So Queen City takes on Wilmington to begin the. That's what happens to you when you're a newcomer.
Get that first game of the day.
First of all, you get Wilmington.
And the first game of the day.
And second, you play the first game of the day, Queen City and Wilmington, 10 a.m. on Tuesday, Rowan and Pitt at 1, Cherryville and Hope Mills at 4:30, and at 7:30 that night, the host Fuquay will take on Randolph. We might as well just go through the rest on Wednesday. Where did I get to Saturday? In order, 10, 1, 4:30, and 7:30. 10 o'clock, Pitt County and Queen City.
Queen City got back-to-back days of that.
Back-to-back early games, yep. Then Randolph and Hope Mills, Rowan and Wilmington, heavyweight battle there. Fuquay and Cherryville in the nightcap. On Thursday, Pitt County and Wilmington, Cherryville and Randolph, Queen City and Rowan County. And they finally get a 4:30 game to Queen City, and it's with Rowan. And Fuquay and Hope Mills. So top 2 from each side will meet in the semis on Friday, and then the winners there going to play in the state championship and try to advance to Asheboro, all the way to Asheboro.
All the way to Asheboro.
Most stomping grounds, and then Randolph County was already guaranteed a spot in the regional because it's the host team. Yeah,
that's right.
So if you're one team, you like we want Randolph to get to the championship game, so
because then you're guaranteed.
Yep.
That's exactly. Their opponent would be guaranteed if that was the case. So just once again for the Cherryville followers, Tuesday 4:30 versus Hope Mills. Wednesday 7:30 the night game versus Fuquay. Of course, the host gets to play the night game every day. That's just the reward for being the host. And then Cherryville will face on Thursday a 1 o'clock game against Randolph County. So you look at it and you think, you don't know what out of Hope Mills. Somebody sent me a message last night. I don't think it was one of you guys that Hope Mills has a guy that throws 96 or so, but you got to guess he's going day 1, right? I mean, you would guess that kid's going to go day 1 whenever they play Cherryville. So
96.
So we shall see. Now, I don't know what your pitching rotation will be, but you're going to get a few days off here in between. So my guess is they might see that guy, right?
Who do you think Cherryville will open with?
It's not going to change.
No, it's going to be the same rotation.
Yeah. What is it, Webb?
Then Brockman.
Yeah.
Pope, maybe.
Yep. And then
the top relievers have sort
anytime you can throw the Pope, you got to feel good about
Will Blackburn has been seen working relief.
Yeah, but he wasn't their 4th starter. Who was their 4th starter, Mike? It was help me, Lenny. Who was the 4th starter for Cherryville in these? I got a book right here. You know what? You could look at these things and think who the team to beat is. And every time I try to do that, your defending champ is Fuquay.
They are.
So don't count them out.
Oh.
And they're at home.
No. And they're,
kinda. They're the host.
I almost think
they get to sleep in their beds.
Yeah.
I think I read it's 20 to 25 miles
Bowie's
from
Creek.
Fuquay. Yeah. I think Bowie's Creek is 25 miles or more from anything, just by looking, except for the town of Dunn.
Yeah.
And the town of Dunn has several hotels.
Yeah.
But the teams aren't staying in those hotels. The teams are staying in the dorms.
Okay.
In the dorms at Campbell, which is, convenient. I just hope they're air conditioned.
Yeah, it is.
Probably
Look,
are.
I went to school down that way. one thing I loved about Fayetteville State, every dorm was air conditioned.
Because if there's not air conditioning in that part, this Fuquay team, people that don't remember, this is the old Garner.
Mm-hmm.
It's still Garner, and you remember how hot it was when we went to some state tournaments in the past.
Oh,
Yes.
God. 2007.
Yeah,
In Garner, North Carolina. A few mosquitoes down there too, size of your hand. But because what you do, it's this is going to be a great. I've looked at the pictures. I've not been to Campbell before, but it looks really nice on the pictures. Their stadium and everything, good bleachers, good press box, good views. Wherever we went that year in Garner, was it at Garner High?
No, I thought it was at a complex.
But it was there wasn't that many bleachers.
No,
there was
it
very
wasn't.
few
It was
bleachers.
very
Most
few.
No,
people-
it was Garner High.
Was it?
Okay.
It
Yeah,
was long
because
chairs
the
and
football
mosquitoes.
field was right beside it.
We walked out to right field just to try to get in the shade, where it cooled down to 102, and you had to leave there because the mosquitoes were unbelievable. So that's the days back when one of the guys that went with us could not stay in our room. He said, I've got to get a room myself. I can't stay in 40 degree. 40 degree.
That was also the Jake Delhomme debate year.
There's many stories to tell from Legion trips, that's for sure.
Well, this one promises to be probably going to be in the mid-90s those days.
And Lenny says you're right, Mike. I got to give you credit there. The
What's
fourth
that?
starter has been Will Blackburn.
Yeah.
That Blackburn has been. His spell check made it say Blackman, but I know that it's Blackburn. That he has been.
He's also
the
been
fourth
used
starter.
in relief. He was in the Gaston Braves series. Did a good job. So.
Speaking of Gaston Braves, they got to be sick having that 2-0 lead on Cherville. And then
Yeah, they weren't dominant in those two games, though. I will say that those games pretty much could have went either way, but they won a 3-2 game early.
Yeah.
The first one was
4-0
4-0.
and
They got a great pitching performance out of
Chase Stewart.
Stewart. They really did.
And they did. And that game 6, what they were leading, and the comeback.
5-0.
Cherville put that comeback on.
They have to feel, how did we let this one get away from us?
Lenny says Garner High was the site. Naheem Hines, is that the NFL player for the Colts that went to Garner High? That's the one I can think of right now that attended Garner. And, of course, I go back to the Anthony Barber days, who was one of the best high school running backs I've ever seen in my life. Or he put on a great performance in a state championship game, and that was am I right there? That's Garner as well, wasn't it? Who beat Tommy Knott's Coach Harding team at Memorial Stadium back in the day. And before we go, while we're on high school, we can't go without mentioning Lincoln's Jalen Littlejohn.
That's right.
Hired this week as a new head basketball coach. I saw a lot of comments wishing that Jalen would get an opportunity. 28 years old, young kid, played on the 2011 football team that finished runner-up. I'll just say to Todd Gurley and that Tarboro team. And he also was on the basketball team that had a really good season. That's when they used to play Cherville, Mike, and they had the sellouts. And
both teams scored over 100 points.
Even the loser was scoring 100 in those games, which was
I
phenomenal.
think it's a great hire. I've heard so many good things about him. I know he's run some camps. Looks a fine young man. So,
yep, and has been
up for Lincoln in basketball.
Coached a couple years as a varsity assistant under Hancock down at East Lincoln. He was also the JV girls head coach at East Lincoln for a few years. He got his start in the Denver Nuggets organization under Chip Ashley's run program. So, I think he's a good fit and will do well. We wish Phil Robinson all the best also as he departs after one season. For Brett, Jason, Mike, I'm David. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget Legion Baseball coming up on Tuesday from Bowie's Creek. We'll see you then.